This is the policy which came after 34 years. This is the first policy of the 21st century. And if we are able to achieve the goal, if we are able to achieve the goal of sustainable development, if we are able to provide quality education to all the people, quality education, all the learners who are inside the classroom and outside the classroom, definitely will be able to achieve the goal of sustainable development. Gender equality is also very important. That's the goal 5. Are we provide adequate facilities to all the members? Do we have, I was telling you some of the statistics, world statistics. Women only possess 15% of the land in their names. 85% of the male population, they have lands. ये हमारा घर में भी है, आपका घर में भी है, सभी जगह हम देखेंगे. Whether it is in our place, whether it is in Orissa, it is in West Bengal, it is in Chhattisgarh, in Andhra Pradesh, in Tamil, reduce inequality, and education is one of the important means through which we will have to reduce inequality. Then 11th goal is sustainable cities and communities. 12th goal is responsible consumption and production. Consumption and production, these are two important things which will particularly must be taken into consideration whenever we are talking of sustainable development. So responsible consumption, how much we'll have to consume, how much we'll have to produce, that needs to be taken care of. Climate action is 13th goal, and that needs to be taken care of. 14th goal is life below water. 15th goal is life on land. 16th goal is peace, justice, and strong institution. Peace is very important in our life. UNESCO says that since war begins in the minds of men, it is in the minds of men that the defense of peace must be construction. मानव का दिमाग में war का जब आ रहा है दिमाग में, शांति भी हो सकता है. So we can bring peace. So education can bring peace. Education can develop a good society where all the people will live together and will bring a particularly education can, through education we can say that the whole world is a global village. And the 17th goal is partnership to achieve the goal. So how will be able to achieve the goal of the sustainable development? So out of all these 17 goals, goal 14 is very important, which relates to quality education. So the aim of education for sustainable development is to enable people, not only the learners, all the people of the world, all the particularly persons of the world, to make decisions and carry out actions to improve the quality of life without compromising the planet Earth. So we'll have to improve the quality of the life of the people, and we'll have to see whether our coming generations, they will be able to live happily. So we'll have to protect our planet. We'll have to particularly consume the particular natural resources judiciously so that our future generations will not face any kind of problem. Education can improve agricultural productivity whenever we are talking of sustainable development. So education can play an important role for improving agricultural productivity. It can reduce population growth rates. If we educate the people, naturally population growth rate will be reduced. So our population, I was telling you, if India is contributing near about 17%, near about 16.4%, it is near about 17% of the world population. We have only 2.4% of the world's land. So you see the comparison. We have 2.4% of the world's land, and we are contributing about 17% of the world's particular population. So there is wide disparity between the distribution of the land and the distribution of the population. So we'll have to control the size of our family, size of the particular population of our state, population of our country. So we'll have to make the people aware, whether they are inside the classroom or outside the classroom, inside the learners, they need to develop their awareness, they need to develop their particular sense of responsibility, they will develop positive values, responsible behavior. So status, particularly, I told you, population growth rate, and enhance the status of the women. So whenever we are talking of sustainable development, we'll have to see that we must enhance the status of women, and education can play an important role for developing the status of women. Raise the standard of living of the people. I was telling you that there are many people, many children who are not getting 3 times meal per day. We have started midday meal programs. Government of India has started a number of schemes, particularly for bringing the children to the schools. But we'll see that now we are talking of 3 to 18 years of this school age group must be enrolled in the schools. Earlier we are taking 6 to 14, now we are talking of 3 to 18 years. So preschool come under the formal system of education. So 3 plus 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 system. So 3 to 18 of the particularly age group must be particularly particularly enrolled in the schools through formal system of education. So raise the standard of living. Institutional reform is also very much essential. So whenever we are talking of particular sustainable development, there is need of change in the system, there is need of change in the technology, there is need of change in the teaching learning process, need of change in the infrastructure, need of change in the style of living, need of change particularly in the values of the people. So curriculum reform is another important aspect which Professor Panda was emphasizing. So whenever we are talking of sustainable development, we see that there must be reforms in curriculum. That is very much important. Development of local specific resource materials that needs to be developed. And another thing is participatory teaching learning methods. So earlier, the students were passive learners and teacher was active in the class. Whenever we are talking of 5P model lesson plan, so we are involving particularly students, and students are the primary stakeholders. So we'll have to empower them. So participatory teaching learning methods need to be emphasized. So these are the basic things must be taken into consideration whenever we are talking of sustainable development. UNESCO also says on education for sustainable development. UNESCO says that there are 5 main areas. There are 5 main areas which needs to be taken care of if we want to achieve particular sustainable development through education. The first one, the UNESCO says that advancing the policy. New policy needs to be adopted. Anything which is new, which is better for our planet, that need to be added. And transforming learning environment, the kind of learning environment which is there in our classroom, which is there in our school, which is there in our university, that need to be changed. And empowering and mobilizing the youth. Youth power is very important. We are involving them in different kinds of activities like NSS, NCC, etc. So how can we mobilize the youth, particularly in the developmental process? How we can conserve our own environment? How can we educate them, particularly to adopt the small family norm? How we can educate them to protect our planet? So empowering and mobilizing the youth is also very much essential whenever we are talking of sustainable development. UNESCO says all these things. Accelerating local level action. We are talking of sustainable development. What local authorities and what is our role particularly whenever we are talking of sustainable development? So accelerating local level action is also very much important, and the most important thing here is, are we able to build the capacity of the educators? All of us who are joining in this particularly group, we are educators, we are teacher educators, or some of us are lecturers, some of us are research scholars. So building capacity of the teacher educators is very much essential whenever we are talking of sustainable development. Are we able to build the capacity of the teacher educator? Yes, we are trying, but we are not being able to fully achieve the goal. So we'll have to build the capacity of the educators. So education, through education, all these things are possible. So goal 4, which emphasizes quality education. Quality is something which satisfies the needs of the customers. So our primary customers are our students who are inside the classroom. We have also the customers, parents, community members. They are outside the classroom. We can engage them, we can educate them through adult education programs. So these are the basic things which need to be taken care of. And education is the tool which reduces the poverty and sustains it for future generations. So if we want to particularly reduce poverty, so we'll have to educate the whole mass. So 100% literacy is also essential, and also other things that we'll have to empower them so that they will be able to stand on their own legs. We have introduced midday meal schemes. We have introduced Kushi schemes. There are a number of schemes, particularly which have been introduced by Government of India as well as our state government. Many state governments, Odisha government is also doing very good work, particularly for bringing the children in schools. Central government is also doing particularly to bring these children to schools. But are we really being able to bring all the children to the schools? We are giving bicycles, we are giving free shoes, we are giving midday meals, we are giving sanitary towels to adolescent girls, we are giving iron tablets to the adolescent girls. But still then we'll see that there are many children in our areas and in our country who are not able to come to the school. This is the situation in particularly urban areas, rural areas. But if we go to tribal areas, you find that there are many children who are working in the fields. They are not coming to the educational institutions. So we have more than 700 particular different kinds of tribes and 62 tribes in particularly in Odisha. They have their own languages. We have introduced multilingual education program, but still then there are many children, particularly in tribal areas, who are not able to attend the educational institutions. But we are talking of particularly 4 pillars of learning. Education in the 21st century, Deloitte Commission says that education in the 21st century should be based on 4 pillars. So education in 21st century should be based on 4 important pillars. So what are the 4 important pillars? The 4 important pillars are learning to know, learning to do, learning to be, and learning to live together. So are we able to achieve all these things? Yes, we'll be able to achieve all these things, and all these 4 pillars will help us. Particularly, these are the pillars of 21st century education. So we'll have to achieve the goal. So whenever we are talking of particularly sustainable development, we'll have to educate the people, we'll have to educate the women, we'll have to educate the scheduled tribes, we'll have to educate the scheduled caste, we'll have to educate the minorities, we'll have to educate the handicapped children. At the same time, national policy also talks of educating the gifted children who are known as talented children or precocious children. So how will be able to meet the needs of such children? There might be 1 or 2% of the children or 1 or 2 students in our school or in your school who are able to particularly who are called gifted students or precocious children. So are we able to meet the needs of those children? So education, through education, will be able to address those children and those who are particularly gifted girls. So there are particularly Kirk Gallagher and Anastoslo. They say there are certain strategies which need to be addressed whenever we are talking of education of the gifted girls. So what provision needs to be done for such kind of children? Because they are so talented that whenever if some student is in class 1, he has already completed class 2. So in other countries we have skipping the grade system. From class 1 we will have to shift them to class 2. From class 2 will shift them to class 4. So how can we meet the needs of such children? That is also very important. So education plays an important role in empowering women. We'll have to provide quality education to all the learners. Whenever we are talking of quality education, we'll have to meet the needs of the learners. We'll have to provide them adequate facilities in the educational institutions. We'll have to see what are their needs. Are we able to satisfy their needs? Are we able to provide very good learning environment in the educational institutions? Are we able to satisfy the needs of all children? We have adequate facilities. So in higher education sector, we have NAC, which is particularly looks up particularly quality in higher education. There are 7 different criteria in the old criteria. In the new criteria, we have 10 different criteria through which we'll have to evaluate the status of higher educational institution in the country. We have more than 1,150 universities and university level institutions and more than 42,000 colleges in the country. So there are many colleges which have not been accredited by NAC. There are many universities which have not been accredited by NAC. But NAC is taking adequate steps for accreditation. So whether our institution is A grade or B grade institution, this is not particularly, will not tell you all these things. NAC will say whether it is a grade institution or B grade institution. So whenever we are talking of quality, all these 10 parameters which have been suggested by NAC, particular for evaluation of the things that need to be taken care of. And another thing is that ensure inclusive and equitable quality education. So all these things, national policy also talks of equitable, particularly, and inclusive quality education, and particularly it particularly emphasizes need for restructuring the system of education in India. The national policy, which suggests for 5+3+3+4 pattern of education, it also emphasizes vocational education from class 6. So whenever we talk of sustainable development, vocational education also plays an important role. Earlier we had particular vocational courses at the +2 level. +3 level also some of the particular states have also introduced at the +2 level. But national education policy suggests that we can introduce vocational courses from class 6. So this is another suggestions which have been given particularly in national policy. National policy also emphasizes providing comprehensive and integrated environmental education. Let the people of the country, let the students of the educational institution be aware of environmental problems. What are the problems? What are the problems which we are facing in our environment? How we can educate the people? How we can develop their knowledge? How we can be able to develop their skills? How we can develop positive attitude towards the environment? So not only the children inside the classroom, there are many people who are outside the classroom. They need to be educated, and providing comprehensive and integrated environmental education is also very much essential whenever we are talking of particularly environmental education. And waste management. what Professor Ponda was emphasizing, that is also very much essential. Are we able to manage the wastes? Are we able to protect our own environment, protection of the environment, sanitation facilities in the educational institution, climate change? All these things are very particularly important. And you see, one article I was going through the internet yesterday, that we are using so much of plastics, polythenes. वर्ल्ड में हम पहले नंबर में आ जाएंगे बहुत जल्दी, आ गए हैं सोचिए. Our population, it has crossed more than 140 crores. We will see that we are also using maximum plastics. So my suggestion is carry a bag, not a carry bag. We will have to carry a bag, not a carry bag, not polythene, no polythene use. We are using this particularly bottled water. So do we particularly feel that this bottled water is safe? You might have gone one of the special issues of India today. The special issue was there. How safe is our drinking water? Are we able to provide good quality drinking water to all our students in the classroom? We are not able to provide all the students particularly good drinking water facilities. So this needs to be taken care of. NEP also emphasizes on training and sensitizing teacher, educators and trainers. So whenever we are talking of particularly sustainable development, we will have to educate the people. Rabindranath Tagore says that a teacher can never teach unless he is learning himself. A lamp can never light another lamp unless it burns its own flame. So a teacher, educator or students, they are particularly whenever we are talking of sustainable development, and NEP also talks of lifelong learning. So we'll have to educate the teachers, we'll have to educate the researchers. Research is also very much important. We'll have to improve the agricultural productivity, enhance the status of women, participatory teaching and learning methods, and basic and higher education, quality higher education. We are talking of higher education. So in particularly in elementary education, we give emphasis to quantity. But whenever we are talking of higher education, we must see that we provide higher education to the youths. So we have a number of different kinds of university. We have medical university, we have teacher education university, we have particularly culture universities, we have women's university, we have law universities. So particularly, are we able to meet the needs of all those children? So we'll have to provide quality education, and quality education is the basic need for achieving the goal of sustainable development. So education for sustainable development is a way to make the world a safer, healthier and more lively place for us and also the future generations. So this is very important. Whenever we are talking of sustainable development, we must see that education is the basic tool. We must educate all the members of the society, whether through formal mode or non-formal mode. We must see that all the population of the country must be educated, and education for sustainable development is the only way to make a world a safer, a healthier and more lively place for us and also the future generations. Education for sustainable development is a lifelong learning process, not only for today, it is for all the generations to come. So it must be a part of the teaching learning process, and it is an integral part of education. So education for sustainable development can help to particularly save the future of the country and the future of the whole world. So we'll have to take informed decisions, responsible action for everything. Whenever we are utilizing the water, whenever we are utilizing any kind of resource, natural resources, so effective use of resources, economic viability, just society for present and future generations, and education for sustainable development means including key sustainable development issues in the teaching learning process. I told you we have 17 sustainable development goals. Participatory approach must be adopted. We must take care of our planet. We must take care of our present generations as well as future responsible for future generations. So responsible behavior and education for all the members is very much essential if we want to achieve the goal of sustainable development. So there are many issues which stand particularly on the path of sustainable development, and one of the important issues is lack of awareness of the people. People are not aware what they are doing. There are many people, illiterate people, they are not aware of many things. Of lack of community participation in sustainable development activities, lack of shared ownership, and lack of financial resources and management resources. So we must see that all these hurdles need to be particularly removed, need to be overcome. So the target is by 2030, we'll have to ensure that all boys and girls complete free, equitable, and quality primary and secondary education whenever we are talking of Indian context. So by 2030, we must see that all the boys and girls receive free, equitable, and quality primary and secondary education. By 2030, all girls and boys receive quality ECCE, early childhood care and education. So after three, the child will be enrolled in the schools, and this comes under the formal system of education. So we must see that all the children, all the boys and girls receive not only education but quality early childhood care education. By 2030, ensure equal access to women and men to affordable, quality technical education, in particularly to all the men as well as to women. So by 2030, we must see that we must provide quality education, technical education, vocational education to all women and men of the country. Another important thing is that by 2030, eliminate gender disparity in education. Whenever we are talking of particularly gender disparity, I was giving you the examples, Indian context and also the context of the world. We have also another gender, that is third gender. I have also worked with them. They are the neglected part of the society. I have worked with them. So I have 2 books on particular transgender population. You will find that most of them, they have left their home because of parents. I have interviewed with them. Why did you leave your home? Now, parent forced us to leave the home. You see, when parents are particularly forcing the children to leave their home, third gender, transgender, जिसको हम बोलते हैं transgender बोलते हैं, इंजड़ा बोलते हैं, they have different names in the world. So what steps need to be taken for those populations that needs to be taken care of whenever we are talking of sustainable development? Because they are the part of the society. Their population might be less. So what kind of steps need to be taken? And another thing is that those population who are out of school, adult population, so adult literacy, adult education program, most particular through adult education program, we'll have to educate the learners. And by 2030, all learners of the world acquire knowledge and skills needed to promote sustainable development. So we must see that all the learners are able to achieve particularly the goals of sustainable development, and our target is 2030. But I am in doubt particularly whether we'll be able to achieve the goal of sustainable development. So thank you, friends. Thank you very much for listening to me. I am really thankful to my dynamic scholar, talented scholar, who is contributing substantially, particularly in the field of education, and he organized this program so nicely that different scholars from different parts of the country, they have joined. I am really thankful to Dr. Atal Bihari Tripathi and the director of the particularly director, Madam Anita Thomar, Honorable VC, Professor N.K. Joshi, Professor Rawat, all the deans and all the esteemed dignitaries of the university for inviting me and sharing some of my views, particularly to role of education for sustainable development and the contribution of National Education Policy 2020 relating to sustainable development. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your nice presentation in this platform. Now the session is open to our beloved participants. If they are having any queries to make, they are most welcome. They can put their questions before sir, and sir is ready to clarify your doubts. Please.
They can also give some suggestions.
Yes. Not only questions, you can give constructive suggestions also. That is also most welcome. Anybody from participants?
Hello, good afternoon.
Very good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. I wanted to know all these things we talk it is very, very inspiring. But how the transparency is a issue, every corner, every institution. How can we bring that transparency, accountability of all these things? How it can be implemented in a right spirit? That is the concern.
Thank you very much, madam. It is a very nice question. So all these things which we discussed, what Professor Ponda discussed, all these things are very important steps for making particular our planet safe and will be able to achieve the goal of sustainable development. One thing, it must be started from me, not from all of us. Am I particularly using our natural resources effectively? Am I doing my job effectively? Are we providing particularly responsible environment particular to all our learners? Are we particularly able to provide quality education to all the learners? So positive attitude and mindset must be started from me, then from our family members, then from our village, from our district, from our block, from our country. So responsible attitude, dedication, contribution of all the members of the society is very much essential if we want to achieve this goal. And everybody needs to be sensitive, needs to contribute substantially if we want to achieve the goal of sustainable development.
Thank you very much. It is
Thank you,
really
madam.
availing.
Thank you very much, madam. Thank you.
Vyasti, Samasti, then Paramesti. In Sanskrit, we call it should be started from Vyasti, individual, then Samasti, then Paramesti.
Yes, ma'am. It must be started from me.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
What we are doing actually, whether it is in an organization or in any of the places, we must be ethical and morally bound to do something. And what we are doing, it must be beneficial to our stakeholders. It is not that for the sake of doing, we are putting hurdles for them. It is not like that. So it must be ethical and morally bound.
Yes. Thank you very much. Any other suggestions? Otherwise, we will conclude.
Sir, namaste. I have a question.
Oh, Dr. Rasmita. Oh, very nice. She's my colleague, dynamic colleague. She's from DPIS Barampur. Okay.
Sir,
Yes,
this
madam.
is this is a little personal question, sir. The
Okay.
sustainable, the goal is started in 2015, and our aim is to achieve that goal up to 2030. Regarding this, we have taken a lot of policies, provisions, and there are a lot of hurdles also we are facing to achieve our goal. But what is your opinion, sir? Will we achieve that goal at exact time? That means in 2030.
Very good question, Dr. Rasmita. Madam, she's my colleague. She's a dynamic colleague of mine. She has asked me a very good question. Other members are also sitting. They are enjoying. Meena, I think he has also joined. So we have goals, and the goal is we have to achieve the goal by 2030. It may not be possible to achieve all the goals by 2030, but we will have to try from today. Not from today. We are trying. Government of India is taking adequate steps. State governments are also taking steps. We, the teacher educators, have to take adequate steps. So some of the goals might be achieved, particularly by 2030. All the goals might not be achieved, but we must try from today, and responsibility must be started from myself from now. So if we will be able to particularly try from myself, from our side, from today, then we may be able to achieve all those goals. So we have 6 more years in our hand. So we'll have to try our best to achieve all those goals. Thank you.
Sir, I have a doubt. Is there any type of facilities that we have to include in our course of studies or in our curriculum to achieve these goals?
Yes. We have introduced environmental education as one of the components in curriculum for the undergraduate level. Indian knowledge system we have also particularly introduced. Many other things relating to population growth, other things we have also introduced in our syllabus. We'll have to sensitize the learners. We'll have to sensitize the educators. We'll have to sensitize the people. So either through formal mode of education or through non-formal mode of education. We are trying. We have also introduced in our course. So we are trying our best to achieve the goal.
May I ask a question,
Thank
sir?
you.
Yes.
May I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am. Please ask.
I'm Dr. Shagya from Odisha, sir. Pranam Nagar.
Oh,
Sir,
very
my
nice.
question is, My question is it practically feasible to achieve these goals all in due course of time?
You, madam, very good question. These are the global goals, not only for India. These are the global goals, universal goals. So
Yeah.
India is also an important part to this. So we have a target to
Okay, sir.
achieve the goal by 2030. We may not be able to achieve all these goals, but we are trying our
Exactly,
best.
sir.
You see, I was giving you the example that Article 45 says that we will have to achieve the universalization of education within 10 years from the
Absolutely.
commencement of the constitution. Within 10 years means by 1960. But
Yeah.
74 years have been passed, we have not been able to go achieve it. But we'll have to fix
Mine.
the goal. We'll try our
Exactly,
best
sir.
to achieve the goal. If not by 2030, might be by 2040 or 2035 we may be able to achieve the goal, but some of the countries might be able to achieve all those goals. But we'll have to
Yes,
try.
sir.
Try our level best to achieve all those goals.
Target must have been fixed, sir. Your answer is
Okay,
target must
yes.
have been fixed.
Yes,
Okay,
yes. We must
thank you
fix.
very much, sir.
You
It's my
must fix
pleasure
the
to talk to
target,
you,
and we
sir.
must try for that also.
It's my pleasure to talk to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you.
My
So nice
pleasure,
of you.
sir.
Atal, we may conclude.